Hey everybody, this is Coach Will Martell back at you with another episode of the Manosphere. On this week's episode, was Steve Harvey fit to give relationship advice, plus write a book called Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, coming up on this week's episode of the Manosphere. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Manosphere. And this week's episode, was Steve Harvey fit to give relationship advice? And not only that, he had written a book called Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. Now I'm going to roll a clip of Mr. Harvey's, and this was from a little while back. I guess he was on tour promoting the book, and then that book turned into a movie, which I've never seen the movie, but I heard the movie was pretty decent, and it had Kevin Hart in it and a whole bunch of other folks. But I had to ask myself the question after these things were surfacing about Mr. Harvey's personal life. And that had me to ask myself the question, was he fit to give relationship advice or tell women that they had to do a 90-day rule that was also written in that book? Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to roll this clip and then I'll be right back to tell you what I think. Here's the clip.
And it's serious.
Yeah, it's a serious
It's a serious book. People think they're going to buy this book and they're going to be mad at you but except they're going to get a lot of good advice because you're really telling people what women should be thinking about, right?
Well, I'm not a relationship expert. Mm-hmm. I'm an expert on manhood. Mm-hmm. I know men.
Yeah.
I've been getting to this point for 52 years. Mm-hmm. My father's whole goal was to get me here, so I know men. All my friends play ball, they're actors, they drive trucks, they're insurance salesmen. I went to college with them, I grew up with them. I know how men think. And what women just do not know is how men think. Y'all keep talking to each other about men, and you just keep swapping stupid information.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're back. And now that you have seen the clip for yourself of Steve Harvey's comments and him explaining the contents of his book, do you think now that things about this man's personal life has surfaced, and not to mention his ex-wife coming out and saying like a whole lot of stuff about her relationship with Mr. Steve Harvey, do you guys think that he was fit to give relationship advice? Now, my personal opinion, I don't think so. I don't think that this man had any right at what was like happening within his personal life at the time to give advice to anyone on relationships and how women should handle themselves and things of that nature. Why do I think that way? Because of the fact that he was in a relationship with his first wife, monkey branching to a relationship with his second wife, Marjorie. Now, this is according to Steve Harvey's ex-wife, his first wife, that says that Marjorie was in the picture when Steve was obviously done with his first wife. Now, to me, that's a sign of narcissism, but that's just me. So narcissism is just a whole nother subject entirely, which one day I'll probably do another video on narcissistic people, so to speak. Anyhow, Back to the subject at hand. Do I think Steve Harvey was fit to give relationship advice? Hell no. I don't think he was fit to give relationship advice. Now, advice on how to succeed and being successful, yes, that man could have content on that all day long, and I even listen to his stuff now. In reference to that, I listen to that a lot, and his story and his struggles and his journey and how he lived in his car for 3 years. I mean, I know quite a bit about Steve Harvey. I mean, I followed his career when he was on Showtime at the Apollo and the Steve Harvey Show. And, now, well, he's the ex-host of Family Feud and the ex-host of his own show, the Steve Harvey Show, talk show. So I'm a big fan of this man's work ethic. I mean, his work ethic is sick, absolutely sick. I have not seen a more harder worker or someone that has built his brand to the level that this man has built his brand. So I'm not here to bash him. I'm here to say I don't think he was fit to give relationship advice. Not only that, write a book called Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. I don't think, in retrospect, I mean, that book came out so long ago that, yeah, if you ever get a chance to read it, read it. But he writes some things in there for women where it's like, okay, women have to go by this 90-day rule. And I think that's BS, because Steve, coming from the old school and what have you, Steve didn't go by that 90-day rule in terms of a woman. I don't even know why he wrote that mess. Okay, we all know that Steve didn't wait 90 days to bang out his first wife, and he sure as hell didn't wait 90 days to bang out his second wife, Marjorie. I mean, Steve's a man. Okay. And yes, there are loyal men out there. There are a lot of loyal men out there. Are there disloyal men out there? Yes, there are. It is. It's a lot of disloyal men out there. But there's also disloyal women out there, just as there may be one or two, maybe three or four, or maybe 1,000 or whatever of loyal women. But I digress. Anyhow, do I think Steve Harvey at the end of the day was fit to give relationship advice? No way. Now, there are guys out here on YouTube and any place else that are putting up content that are an authority on that. And they should put out content on that because they're sharing with you experience. They're sharing with you not to make the same mistakes that they've made in terms of getting involved in relationships and how to know signs that your mate may be, playing around on you or whatnot. I mean, I wrote a book back in, I believe that was 2013, called Surviving the Game, How to Survive in an Online Dating War Zone. I wrote that book strictly out of experience. And that book is still on Amazon. I didn't expect that book to sell 1 million copies or anything. What I expected was that if one person got something out of that book, I was a happy person. Okay. And that's how I wrote all of my books. I wrote 4 books. Okay. Before I started doing this content and things like that, I wrote 4 books. I was an established and a self-published author. So a lot of people don't know that, because I never went around boasting and bragging about it. If people bought that book and they got something out of it, I was happy. If people got something out of another book that I had written called Hit Husbands in Training, which, going back on that book, that was basically a blue pill beta book. Okay. And I wouldn't expect an SOB to buy that book, like, period. I mean, and I wouldn't suggest anything going on in that book except for one thing. I wrote a chapter on studying your woman. Okay, I wrote a chapter on that, and that was strictly because you have to study a woman, and this is going to my guys out there. You have to strictly study a woman. When you study a woman, you could basically just see the big picture. You will know habits. You will know what she would do, what she wouldn't do. You'll know daily habits. You know, things that, and especially if you live with her. And this is how I was able to spot a cheating woman like a mile off, because of the fact I studied the woman, or the women that I had, like, you know, dealings with. I mean, it's not me out here just shouting, you know, rhetoric or anything, or, you know, garbage. This is absolutely true. If you study your woman or anybody that you're with, you will know right away, the signs if something is kind of not right, out of sync. But I digress. Okay, we're here to talk about, do I think Mr. Steve Harvey was fit to give relationship advice, knowing his background in relationships? To me, no. This man should not have ever written a book for women, not to mention he should not have ever come out and said that he was this guru on relationships between men and women, which I will tell you, if he would have just said that he's actually saying it from his point of view on what it was, I would have been fine with that. But this man built himself up at that particular time to be this guru on relationships when his house was a mess. And I'm talking about his background. That's his house. His house was a mess. Anyhow, if you like this content, please share, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be back with you next week here on the Manosphere with more content. Until then, every day above ground is a good day, and take care of yourselves. Deuces!